So Mangalacharana আমরা দিয়ে শুরু করব। Mangalacharana is Sukha Santana Siddhyartham Natva Brahmachyutarchitam Gauri Vinayakopetam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. So we pray to Bhagavan Shankara, who is present along with Gauri and Vinayaka. And for what? For having an understanding of this Chandas Shastra. So, what was the verse that we saw in the previous Patha? The verse that we saw was Sanuswaro Visarganto Dirgho Yukta Paraschayaha Vapadante Tvasau Vakro Gyeyonyo Gyeyonyo Matriko Ruchuhu. This is the verse that we are looking at. I mean, we have discussed some part of it already in the Patha, but I will just spend some time here and then move on to the next Patha. So, Gurum Lakshayati. So, we have seen what is a Guru Varna and what is a Laghu Varna. So, a Lakshana, the and what is a Lakshana, by the way? So, I suppose I say that uh, I want to, there is an item or there is an entity called as cow. There is an entity called as cow or gau. Now, this is called as Uddesha. This is called as Uddesha. What does Uddesha mean? Uddesha means vastoho namamatra sankirtanam. That is, you are just giving a certain name. Sankirtana here has got nothing to do with kirtana, bhajana, and all those things, but it just means to give a name. Let the object be X. Let the object be alpha, beta, whatever it may be. So, once that is done, how do I identify that object? So if I say that the object has a name alpha, how do I know or how do I identify that object alpha? To identify that object alpha, I need to have some lakshana, some definition. Now, once that definition is given, there is one more thing that we do. That is, we do a subcategorization. So, we have seen three things till now: Uddesha, Lakshana, Vibhaga. So once you have done, you have named the object something. Let the object be alpha. How do I identify alpha? That is Lakshana. Once you have given the Lakshana, you can now categorize if possible. If at all it is possible to categorize alpha as alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, and so on and so forth, alpha n. So, then we can have a categorization which we call as Vibhaga. The other thing that we can do is we can also give or we can also test whether that definition is a valid definition or not. So we call this as pariksha. So there are four stages through which we arrive at a nomenclature and identification and classification strategy for anything in the old Indian system of learning. Uddesha, Vibhaga, Lakshana, Vibhaga, and Pariksha. Now, how do I do this Pariksha? I'm just mentioning this in brief. There are three doshas that can happen to a Lakshana. One is Avyapti. Avyapti. What is Avyapti? In very simple words. So suppose you look at a cow or you say that, okay, there is an animal called cow, and I ask you that tell me what this cow means. Then you can go and say that, okay, fine, this cow is an entity which has two horns. And then I ask a question that, okay, that's also true for some other set of animals. And in that case, a cow is one which has black and white color. Now, that's not true for all cows, right? There could be cows which do not have black and white color. So, your Lakshana is not getting applied to all cows. That's problematic. So that is Avyapti dosha. The other dosha is a cow is an entity which has two horns. In that case, it applies to cows, it also applies to goats, it also applies to some other animals. Now, in this case, also, you will face the issue of a Lakshana dosha. What is the dosha? Ati Vyapti. Now, it is getting applied to cows and also to some other animals. Gone. This is also a dosha. The third dosha is Asambhava dosha. That is, a cow is an animal with four tails. Now, that is not possible. If the animal has four tails, it is certainly not a cow. Then what would be a good lakshana for cow? Traditionally we say sasnadi matvam gotvam. That is, a cow is one which has a dewlap or a piece of flesh which hangs from its throat. That is the lakshana of a cow. That is sasna. Sasnadi matvam gotvam. That is not generally seen in other animals. So that's probably a doshahina lakshana, we can say. I mean, even with this lakshana, people have found out some dosha. That is a very different issue. But yeah, this is better than the other three. So now, what is happening? He is giving a lakshana for Guru Varna. What is the lakshana? This shloka itself gives me the lakshana. Sanuswara anuswarena sahito varnah g guru guruhu ज्ञेयः यथा kam kham gam gham ityadi. So if you see something like this, let me not do this. This is not a very good way of writing this. So Kimekam. This comes in Vishnu Sahasranama. We say Kimekam Daivatam Loke Kimbapyekam Parayanam. That is Kimekam. To which Devata shall we pray? Kimekam. This is Kimekam. This is Makara. Sorry for the writing. Kimekam. So this kam, you see, has an Anuswara. So the Kavarna over here will be classified as Guru. Be classified as Guru. Done. Now another one. Visargantah visargah ante yasyasau visargayukto varnah guruhu bhavati. If it also gets a visarga, something like prerakaha, okay, right? Something like prerakaha. So prerakaha has a visarga, Now this also is I mean, this particular akshara or this particular varna is Guru. Now, what else? Dirgha. Whatever is dirgha, like a, e, u, etc., are considered as Guru. Dirgho. Yukta parashayah. What is Yukta paraha? Yascha युक्तपरः युक्तः अन्येन वर्णेन संयुक्तः परो यस्यासौ संयुक्तादिः इति भावः गुरुः स्यात्. What is being said over here? If after a swara is a vowel, a, e, u, e, u, etc. so on. So these are inherently, I mean, any of these swaras. So after a swara, if you have a samyukta varna, a samyukta varna. What is a samyukta varna? What would be an example? So example is given Krishnaha. Krishnaha has got what? Krishnaha is ik or a halanta in ka. You cannot pronounce it with this. So you need a swara, a vowel. So rakara is what we would have to put. This becomes kr, right? So this is a swara. This is also a hrasva swara. But after this, what comes? Shna, right? Shna. So this is Krishna. So now this is a samyukta swara. This is a samyukta swara. So whenever you see a samyukta swara, you will have to use, I mean, whenever you see a rasva swara, and after that you see a samyukta varna, sorry, a hrasva swara followed by a samyukta varna, in that case, this hrasva swara will be considered as a guru varna. That's all. तदा पदान्ते पदस्य चरणान्ते स्थितो लघुः वा विकल्पेन गुरुर्भवति. So after the end of a certain part uh, of a shloka, it could be a quarter of the, it would be the end, it could be the end of the quarter of a particular shloka, or the end of a particular line of the shloka, or the end of the shloka itself. In that case, if there is a laghu akshara, it can also be considered, it is a your choice, vikalpena gurur bhavati. Kadachit laghu, kadachit cha guru. Sometimes laghu, sometimes guru. So guru vakro bhavati prastare tasya. This sign is given. So what is the sign given? The vakra chinha is given. Vakra chinha is this. This we have seen already. But yes, I needed to clarify some of these parts. Now, अन्यमात्रिकः एकमात्रिकः ह्रस्वः लघुर्भवति स च ऋजुः तस्य चिह्नं ऋज्वात्मिका रेखा. So any other, I mean, so we have given the lakshanas for guru. Anything else is considered as laghu, and for example, anything which has one matra of ucharana. So if I say a has two matras of ucharana, a has one matra of ucharana. In that case, the ek matrika hrasva, the hrasva swara gets laghu. Such a rijuhu, that is the sign. The sign given is the straight line, riju, straight. So that is what we wanted to cover. Now, one more thing. This word, yukta para, there is a meaning to this one. So one is this part, that there is a swara varna, I mean there is a samyukta varna before, or sorry, after the hrasva swara. That is one possibility. Or there is one more technical word that has come, a yukta para. What is yukta para? What is yukta para? So yukta para means there are two things. Let me just mention this very clearly here. So suppose there is a visarga followed by a ka. We write this as jivha mulya, and the sign that is given is this. Jivhamulya. So, if I say Mandah Kavi Yasha, so the pronunciation is you have to get a kha. So Mandah Kavi Yasha. And the other thing is Upadmaniya. Upadmaniya. What is Upadmaniya? So after the Visarga, if a pa comes, you would have to pronounce this as uh, so suppose Mandah Kavi Yashaf Prarthi. So Yashaf Prarthi. So a pha kind of ucharana will come. That is called as Upadmaniya. So suppose so suppose we write Manda. Manda, the has an akara. Akara is hrasva, so it should ideally be laghu. But then it is mandaha and a ka comes. Mandaha kavi yasha. Kavi yashaha. This is coming from a particular verse in Raghuvamsham of Kalidasa, by the way. Kavi yashaha. Yeah, and never write as just two dots. Always give this. There is a philosophical connotation to this as well. Visarga. That is why we never write it as two dots like this. This is wrong. So Kavi Yashaf Prarthi. So a Jivha Mulya has come and a Upadmaniya has come. Right? So what is happening here? Jivha Mulya, Upadmaniya and Mandah Kavi Yashaf Prarthi. So this a would have been considered as Lagu, but there is a Jivha Mulya that has come. So this is now being so a Yukta Para Varana has come. So we will consider this as this a of Mandaha as Guru. In the same way, Yashah Prarthi. So Sh and A is already embedded here. So this should have been a Laghu Varana, but an Upadmaniya has come. So this will become Guru. So that's one thing that I missed saying. So this we need to have. Another thing had come, by the way. That was Anyena Varanena Samyuktaha. What is this Anyena Varanena Samyuktaha? It has one more connotation. So suppose we say uh, something like this. So suppose end of the verse you get something like sun. Sun. The sun is a word, by the way. Bhutanam Ishwaropi Sun. We have seen in the Gita. So sun. Now in this sun, what is happening? Sa has an akara, so that would be laghu, but there is a vyanjana that has come, and this is a isolated vyanjana. You cannot even pronounce this vyanjana, right? You cannot pronounce you cannot do that. You need an a or a e or a sorry. You need a or a u or a e or something else to make it na, na, ni, nu, etc. So this is a vyanjana that has come, a core vyanjana without any vowel, because of which this sa, which could have become laghu, had to become guru. That is the other thing. So yeah, so we have covered this part. Now one more thing. पादादौ इह वर्णस्य संयोगः क्रमसंज्ञकः पुरस्थितेन तेन स्यात् लघुतापि क्वचित् गुरोः. What is that? So let us focus a bit on the tika. इह छन्दशास्त्रे पादादौ शरणानाम् आरम्भे अक्षरस्य संयोगः क्रमसंज्ञको भवति. So we will see an example for this, by the way, what exactly is being said. But let me just give you a very broader translation for this. So, what is a pada? For example, we generally write in the Gita, right? We have a shloka and then we have, uh, suppose the shloka has two lines, and then you can always generally divide it into four parts, right? This could be first pada, this could be the second pada, third, and fourth. We can divide it into four padas generally, or more, depending on what meter we are trying to follow. So we are saying that any akshara samyoga, we will see what akshara samyoga means, by the way. But any akshara samyoga, so aksharasya samyogah krama samyago bhavati krameti namna purvacharyaihi vyavahriyate. So the past acharyas have used the word krama for any akshara samyoga. We will see what akshara samyoga is in the very next verse. That is the udaharana that is being given by the Granthakara. Now, if that akshara samyoga is there, then sometimes even the Guru Varna can become a Laghu Varna. And what else is there? पुरस्थितेन अग्रे विद्यमानेन तेन क्वचित् अपेक्षितस्थले गुरोः गुरुवर्णस्य लघुतापि लघुभावो भवति. This is what we have seen. वा पादान्ते इति पादान्ते ह्रस्ववर्णस्य गुरुता भवति. So if it is at the end of the pada, then so if for example the hrasva varna is at the end of the pada, is at the end of a certain section, then that can become guru. Hrasva varna is generally laghu, but it can become guru if it is at the end of the pada. Atra tu padadau samyukta परस्य गुरोः लघु लघु गुरोः लघुता इति उभयोः विषयपार्थक्यं स्फुटमेव. So basically in the next verse we will see what this is getting or what is being indicated. Very interesting verse, by the way. Tarun, this is a kavya verse. This is a kavya verse. This is written in the Arya Chanda. I think we have seen Arya Chanda in the last class. I need to probably, I think we have seen Arya, but if not, then I will do that at some point of time. So, Tarunam Sarshapashakam Navaudanam पिच्छलानि च दधीनि अल्पव्ययेन सुन्दरी ग्राम्यजनुं मिष्ठमश्नाति गुरुवर्णस्य लघुभावम् उदाहरति तरुणम् इत्यादिना. Let me just give you the context of this whole thing. So, अत्र ग्राम्यन्यायके समासक्तचित्तां काञ्चन सुन्दरीं निवारयितुम् इच्छन्ति कापि तदीया सखी स्तुतिमुखेन निन्दाम् upanyasyan, So what is happening is that there is a village hero, Gramya Nayaka, and there is some female protagonist who is basically a Sundari, and she is pretty much enamored by this particular Nayaka, and to basically get her mind away from this particular Gramya Nayaka, one of her Sakhi, Tadiya Sakhi, Stuti Mukhena Nindam Upanyasyati. She is basically why she in the garb of making or praising of making a praise or whatever. I mean praising this Nayaka, she will end up criticizing, doing a ninda of the Nayaka. So she will do it in the garb of praise. So what is that praise? Hey Sundari, This is Ikarant. This is Dirgha Ikaranta Strilinga Shabda. So its Sambodhana Pada gets a Prasva Ikara. So He Sundari. ग्राम्य जनः ग्रामीणो लोकः तरुणं पेशलं सर्षप शाकं नवौदन नवानां धान्यानाम् ओदनं भक्तं तथा च पिच्छलानि बद्धानि दधीनि अश्नाति भुङ्क्ते. So what is happening? uh, एवं अल्पव्ययेन स्वल्पद्रव्येण मिष्टं मधुरमश्नाति ग्रामीणः पुरुषः. So मोदकादीनां तत्र ग्रामे नितराम अभावात्. So she's basically saying that all these village people, what are they doing? They are basically having very sweet things, very tasty things, but very cheap things. What are those cheap things? Tarunam peshalam sarshapa shakam. So sarshapa is sarson. So very soft sarso sak, that is one thing. And then what are they having? Navaudanam, with fresh rice. They are preparing bhat or whatever, and then they are having what? Picchalani Baddhani Dadhini. So they are also having very thick uh, curd, basically. That is what these people eat. Ashnati, bhunkte. That is what this hero also eats, basically. This particular hero eats these kind of things. Also, the Gramina person, what does he do? Very in at very cheap rates, at very low prices, he eats sweets. Mishtam Madhuram Ashnati Gramina Purushaha. Why does he do so? Modakadinam Tatra Grame Nitaram Abhavat. Because Modaka and other delicacies are not at all present Nitaram Abhavat in their grama. That is why he is doing this. Now, what is being said, that you with a desirable body, kamaniya kalevaraya bhavatya na ayam graminah chaturah sevaniyah iti bhavah. You should not be engaged, or you should not be serving this particular graminah, this particular village person. That is what is coming. Now, if you look at this verse, there are four padas, right? This is one pada, or this is four padas or four charanas, right? So this is one charana, the other is this charana, this is one more charana, and this is one more charana. Tarunam sarshapa shakam navaudanam picchalani cha dadhini alpavena sundari gramyajano mishtam ashnati. So all of these four charanas, look at this particular shabda. Gramya. What is here? It is a samyukta varna, right? It is ga jod ra jod a. This is a samyukta varna that has come. Now, this particular thing, this particular charana or pada. So charana or pada are synonyms. So this particular charana or pada, it starts. What did we say in the tika, in the previous verse? Padadau, at the beginning of the pada, aksharasya samyoga. There is a samyoga happening of aksharas. Samyukta varna has been created. This thing is called as a krama. This thing is called as a krama. Now what is happening? Alpavyayena sundari. अल्पव्ययेन सुंदरी. So this ri is followed by a samyukta varna, and we know from the example of Krishna, then this could become guru. But the problem is that with the Arya Chanda, with the Arya Chanda, what happens is that the Arya Chanda requires only 12 matras in its. We will look at the Lakshana of the Arya Chanda, but it just requires 12 matras. We will end up getting 13. So, we will end up getting 13. We don't want that. We don't want 13. Hence, we will rather consider this dirgha as hrasva, as hrasva. परंतु कहीं कहीं आवश्यकतानुसार वह गुरु भी लघु हो जाता है. See this, it's written actually over there. So, this is what has happened. Now, let us read the other things. So this is what we are, yeah. तथा संयुक्त परत्वात् गुरुः सुन्दरी इत्येतस्य इकारः आर्यायाः तृतीयाः चरणस्थ द्वादश मात्रा निर्वाहकतया लघुभावं स्वीकरोति. So to keep 12 matras in the tritiya charana of the Arya Chanda, we would consider this to be laghu. It was by the very definition of the Guru Varna, this should have been considered as Guru, but we may need to make some adjustment. Guru Varna's definition was here.
Mm.
Okay. Now the other words. अब्धिभूत रसादीनां ज्ञेया संज्ञात्र लोकतः ज्ञेयः पादश्चतुर्थोंशो यतिर्विच्छेद संज्ञिका. Now let us understand this. We will again go by the Tika. The Tika, it becomes very easy to appreciate the idea. छन्दः शास्त्रे प्रयुज्यमानान् कांश्चित् पारिभाषिक शब्दान् aha. So whenever you see this word, aha, it means in Sanskrit कहते हैं, लक्षणम aha, ज्ञानम aha, परिभाषाम aha. So aha means कहते हैं. अब लक्षण बताते हैं. इसका लक्षण बताते हैं. What lakshanas are being told? Chandas Shastre. In the Chandas Shastra, some of the definitional words, some of the technical words that are used, they are being mentioned. Atra Shastre. Now some examples will be given, by the way. Atra Shastre Abdhibhuta Rasadinam Shabdanam Sangya नामकरणम लोकतः लोक व्यवहारात् ज्ञेय अवगंतव्यः. So in the Shastra, in what happens, abdi, bhuta, rasa, etc. For these words, the sangya and the meaning is known lokatah, from popular usage, or I mean popular usage, lokatah loka vyavaharat gyeya. So for example, abdhi indicates samudra and it indicates the number 4. चतुस्संख्या बोधकः लोके तथैव ख्यातेः. एवं अन्यत्रापि अवगंतव्यम. So like this, we should also know it for bhuta and other words. What are the other words? If you ever say bhuta, it will indicate punch 5, the number 5. Rasa will indicate 6. एवमादि ग्रहणात् अन्येषामपि शब्दानाम् अत्र ग्रहणं तथा च अश्वामुनयः सप्तः. So whenever it is abdi bhuta rasa adinam etc. Abdi bhut rasa etc. So what are these etc.? So that is being said. Ashvaha munayah saptah. Ashvaha munayah saptah. So for Ashwa or Muni, we will understand 7. Why 7? Because there are 7 Ashwas in the chariot of Surya. And Muni is Sapta Rishis are there, so 7. That can indicate 7. Girayoho Vasavaha Cha Ashtau. So for Giri or Vasus, Ashtavasus we say, right? The Ashtam being Bhishma, who came as Bhishma. So that will indicate what? The number 8. If you say Graha, it should indicate the number 9. Disha should indicate the number 10. So अतएव एते तत् संख्याबोधकाः पूर्वाचार्यैः अस्मिन् शास्त्रे गृहीताः वेदितव्याः. So these technical terms that were used by the Purvacharyas have also been used or have also been applied in this current Shastra or Grantha. Now, Shlokasya चतुर्थः अंशः भागः पादो गेयः पादचरणादि नाम्नाभिधीयते. यतिः विरामः सा च पदानां विच्छेद संज्ञिका भवति. So what is happening? So the one fourth of a prose is considered as a charana. Now wherever there is a virama in the chanda, in the vritta, that is called as yatihi viramaha. So we have covered up to this, and then some other technical definitions are also following. युक् समं विषमं चायुक् स्थानं सद्भिः निगद्यते. समम् अर्धसमं वृत्तं विषमं च तथा परम्. समं स्थानं द्वितीय चतुर्थ स्थानं युक् इति नाम्ना सद्भिः निगद्यते कथ्यते. What is happening? Samam sthanam द्वितीय चतुर्थ स्थानम. So Dvitiya and Chaturtha, I mean the even number sthanas in the, so for example, there is this thing, right? Dharma kshetre kurukshetre, right? Dharma kshetre. This Dharma kshetre, right? Dharma, this one, and tre, these are yuk. 2, 4, 6, all of these become yuk. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, like that. And 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, all of these places become a yuk. A yuk. Now, atha vrittam varnikam chandah samam ardhasamam विषमम इति त्रिधा भिन्नम भवति. So what is being said is this Vritta or Varnika Chanda. So there are two kinds of Chandras we have seen, Varnika and Matrika, right? We count by Matras. We can have Gana we classification based on Matras. We can have Gana classification based on the Varanas, right? So Vritta can be of three types: Sama, Artha Sama, and Vishama. Anghrayoho यस्य चत्वारः तुल्यलक्षणलक्षिताः तत् छन्दशास्त्रतत्त्वज्ञाः समं वृत्तं प्रचक्षते समवृत्तमाह. Now a lakshana is given. So first vritta was told, then now vritta's classifications have been given, and then how to identify these classifications of vritta, that is being talked about. So samam vriksham prachakshate, known as samavritta. Now, yasya padasya chatvarah anghrayah padaha तुल्यलक्षणलक्षितः तुल्येन समानेन लक्षणेन लक्षिताः युक्ताः सन्ति छन्दशास्त्रतत्त्वज्ञाः छन्दशास्त्रविदः तद्वृत्तं समं प्रचक्षते कथयन्ति. So what is being said? For a particular prose, chatvarah angrayah padah. So for the four padas, have similar lakshanas, are similar or type, that particular lakshana is called, so that particular padya, that particular prose type is called as samavritta. So what is happening? The aksharas should be the same basically. You should have 11 aksharas each. Say for example, Upendra Vajra, that is the uh, that is the kind of meter. It is a kind of meter. In that, the four charanas, the four padas, should have 11 aksharas each. So that kind of a thing can be called as samavritta. We will see how to identify Upendra Vajra and other things, by the way. The other thing that is said is प्रथमाङ्घ्रिसमो यस्य तृतीयश्चरणो भवेत् द्वितीयस्तुर्यवत् वृत्तं तदर्थसम तदर्थसममुच्यते. So we have seen vritta can be of three types. One is sama, ardha sama, and vishama. Sama, ardha sama, and vishama. So what is happening? So I was reading this verse. So Tritiya and Chatur and the Prathama Pada, Prathama Charana or Pada, Tritiya Pada and Prathama Pada, or Tritiya Charana or Prathama Charana should be similar, and Dvitiya should be like Turiyavat or Chaturthavat, Chaturtha Padavat Bhavati. Second and the third padas should be similar. Tadvrittam ardha samavrittam, half similar, right? Because 2 and 4 match, and then 1 and 3 match. So it is half similar. That is why ardha samavritta. Yato hi atra prathama tritiyo dvitiya chaturthau cha samanakaro bhavati. So prathama and tritiya prathama and tritiya are similar, and dvitiya and chaturtha pada are similar. Yeah. So now comes Vishama Vritta. Vishama Vritta, and we will stop at that probably. Uh, or maybe we can just cover a few more verses. It's not very difficult to cover this chapter, but let me see. Let me just. Uh, we should go ahead with this or not. Yeah. सो यस्य पादचतुष्केऽपि लक्ष्म भिन्नं परस्परं तदाहुः विषमं वृत्तं छन्दशास्त्र विशारदः. The knowers of Chanda Shastra say that if the all four padas have different aksharas, are very different from each other, in that case the vritta is called Vishama Vritta. What is Vishama Vritta? Unequal vrittas or unequal vritta. What is unequal here? The padas or the charanas are unequal. So this is one are unequal. Sorry. Now आरभ्य एकाक्षरात् पादादै पादात् एकैकाक्षरवर्धितैः पृथक् छन्दो भवेत् पादैः यावत् षड्विंशतिं गतम्. Now Samavritta has been talked about, but Samavritta also has some categories. So एकाक्षरात् पादात् आरभ्य एकाक्षर वर्धितैः अक्षरेण वर्धितैः एकाक्षर वर्धितैः एकेन एकेन अक्षरेण वर्धितैः पादैः यावत् षड्विंशति संख्याकं प्रति गतं गमनं भवति तावत् पृथं भिन्नं छन्दो भवेत्. So what is happening? That a pada can have one akshara, two akshara, and go so on. If you keep increasing one akshara each, then we can have a pada till with 26 aksharas. And then if each of these padas are similar to each other, then in that case it becomes samavritta. We stop here with the 17th verse, and then we move on to the other verses in the next part. We will finish off this discussion. So 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. We will finish this off in the next week's pata and move on to the Dvitiya Adhyaya, where we have more of practical chanda identification practice actually. So with this
Okay.
we finish it off, but before that we need to do the Mangala Charana. So if you want, you can repeat it with me or just in your mind. सुखसन्तान सिद्ध्यर्थं नत्वा ब्रह्माच्युतार्चितं गौरी विनायकोपेतं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्. श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः.